Aloha, this is Uncle Onya from the Kauai Museum. Thank you for joining me for yet another project. This time, out of this coconut leaf, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a scallop basket. There are so many different ways of doing baskets, but this is just one of the easiest way. First of all, this has 10 leaves. I'm guessing to say this is almost about 27 inches long, but it doesn't matter. It's a 10 leaves that does. I'm going to trim this off. And when you trim the coconut tree, because we need to put this into a circle, when we trim it, make sure that the leaves are behind you. Don't, if you do it this way, you make an incision and pull it, it go right into the leaves. So the leaves got to be behind you. And what I'm doing is I'm taking it down to where the leaflet meets up with the great rib. And this, the hard portion is called the great rib, yeah? So I'm doing this. And then, since I brought it down to each edge, I am going to flatten it out. Now this is going to make it nice and thin so I can put this into a circle. There we go. Now, I am going to, before I put it into the circle though, now it's fairly bendable, but before I do it, I have to massage it. Why? Because if I don't do this process here, when I put it into a circle like this, it may kink. But because I massage it, it went into a perfect circle. I am going to notch it. Now, all weavers have their own way of tying. I like to do it this way. I notch the top. I notch the bottom. And then put it together. Then I am going to get my raffia and I will tie it. I wrap the area that I notched. And I bring the knot over to the right, my right. That way it'll be a little bit more secure. There we go. I tie it. And now I'm ready to weave. Let me explain about the knot. So I am going to take this off. Now, if you look closely, the knot over here is where the notch is. And then I extended the knot just so that it doesn't do this when I'm weaving, yeah? Now, this scallop weave, I place on my lap. This is what I consider to be a blank. Because with a blank like this, you could do about 3 or 4 different types of weave. But in my classes, I call this a blank because this is what I give my students. I don't want them to trim because if it trim, I gotta add another hour to the class. So now, this is from the left side of the tree. This is a clockwise, so the left hand is a dominant weaver. So what I'm doing is I'm going to make this basket 5 leaves high. So I'm going to get, that being the case, I involve 5 leaves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 1, under number 2, over 3. Notice that this is way back here and then I do it. If I did it like this, what would happen is that when you come over here, you wouldn't be able to get in. So this has to be very wide, under, over, over. Notice all the midribs are off to the outside of the bowl. In this case, the left side. My right hand, palm facing up, collects the leaves. My index finger and thumb are touching skin to prevent it from coming out, okay? And I'll explain to you why. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're involving 5 leaves. I'm going under, over, under. I catch it with the bottom fingers of my right hand, and so my left hand can get away from the clog. If I'm not holding it like this, boom, that midrib makes it go back. So I go under, over, under. I catch it with the bottom fingers of my left hand, then over number 5 into my right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Under, over, under. I catch it with the bottom fingers of my left hand. Move my left hand out of the clog. There. So once you start on a pattern, you just continue throughout. Any deviation to the original pattern, they call it a mistake. So you don't want any mistakes because then you got to go backtrack and big trouble. So under, over, under, into my right hand. You see how the right hand is collecting and skin to skin. Say for instance I got lazy and one of these things fell out like this. what would happen is that you would weave it into the mix and then it'd be a problem for you. So move this out of the mix and then we go over number 5, which happens to be the number 1. This is the first where we started. Now, this is when the weaving changes. I get all the leaves in my right hand, put it between my knees. I put my knees together. What does it allow me to do? It frees up my left hand, right hand. So now I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To prevent the midrib from breaking, I use 2 hands. And then instead of lifting up over here, risk cracking this rib, I get the tip, bring it up. Perfect. And I move it forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm using 2 hands, makes it so much easier. Prevent the midrib from cracking. Over number 5. There. Into my knee. There. Last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, nothing has changed in the process. Under number 4, but see how I'm using the tip to prevent it from cracking? There. This is complete. So now what we're doing is we're going to grab the great rib area and we're going to lift up the sides, and this creates the bowl. Okay, I am going to hold with my right hand and tighten with my left. I like to kind of keep it eye level so I can develop the symmetry, yeah? Make it all nice and even. Yeah. There we go. And I don't make it tight all at once. I make several passes. That way it gets a little bit more even. We are working with natural items, so you got to be careful not to go too hard or break it. There. And so like this is a little bit of imperfection with my left index finger. Since the left hand is the dominant weaving hand, I'm going to take this all out to make it nice and even. There we go. Looks so much better. So there. This is the wall of the basket, but you know, there's a big puka, right? We got to fix this puka. What I'm doing now, I'm going to take up, I don't need all the tips of this leaf. I'm going to take this up. Cut it. And then with my left hand being the dominant weaving hand in this case, I'm going to grab one leaf, bend it, drag it to the center. Now my right hand is going to feed my left hand all the leaves with the midrib facing you. Midrib is facing me, yeah? I'm going to pinch with my right hand. But now, you see how all the midribs are all together? So, this, I have 10 leaves. 10 divided by 2 is 5. All I need to do is lodge the leaf from this side completely over and lodge it here. So, I'm going to grab the first leaf and I count 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 5 is my target. I go in and out. So you see how I have my left index finger able to push it in, hook my finger out like this, and then pull. So it becomes a one-hand operation. So I'm going to grab the next one in sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is number 5. I go in and out of the 5th leaf. But if I can acclimate my eye to see that this is the previous leaf, I'm just going over the previous leaf. No need for counting. There we go. But it's very important that you stick your finger in, hook your finger out, and pull. Stick my finger in, hook my finger out, and pull. There we go. So it's very important that you don't skip any leaves because otherwise you'll have extra leaves. There. There we go. Came out perfect. So now I put my left hand on top and I pull with my right, but my right hand is pulling just one side because I'm turning the bowl to make it easier, accommodating my right hand. And then now to really firm up the bottom, I pull opposites like this. Yeah. So this is gonna get the bottom nice and stiff. And then if you do it correctly, and there's only one way you can do it, that's correctly, you will have a star. Pretty, huh? So now this is kind of bouncy, so I stick the bowl between my knees and I lodge this leaf into the wall of the basket. So it requires 2 hands to make it run smoothly. So I have the coconut bowl project within my knees, yeah? So that way it frees up both hands. There we go. what I'm doing is with my left hand, I'm kind of lifting up that midrib so the leaf in my right hand can go right through. From underneath, I'm lifting it up, sending it through. There we go. So we're nearing the end, and I'm doing the same thing there. Now, just for a little bit of aesthetics, I'm going to put my thumb over here, go right over, and put it through, just like that. Once again, I'm going to lodge the bowl between my knees so to make everything easier and steady. And I'm not using one hand to hold the bowl. Because if you're using one hand to hold the bowl, it's depriving your other hand some assistance. So I never hold the bowl with one hand, yeah? There we go. And then all I need to cut this off and I'm all done. But this is your scallop bowl. Wonderful for holding any kind of food items and what you might have, fruits. Enjoy. Aloha.